Right, we're recording. Yeah. Okay, so welcome to our Kickstart 2024. We've got, I think, 6-7 advisors online tonight. We've chosen our favorite kind of healthy, energy boosting, nutrient dense recipes that we feel are helping us in the beginning, in January. I'm feeling a bit irritated by January because everything you hear is about dry January and vegan and go vegetarian and cut out this and don't do that and don't laugh, don't have fun, don't enjoy yourself. And I think it's a bit rubbish. I think for me, it's not about restriction, but it's about moderation. And I think hopefully tonight shows you that, and variety as well. We've got Katie, who's an advisor, but she's also a pain therapist, sports therapist, and has nutritional background as well. So she may well pop, and a Thermomix advisor. She may well pop in with some nuggets of information as we do our recipes. So we're going to start off with Claire, who is going to do her dal. And let me hand over to you, Claire.
Thanks.
There you go.
Yeah.
You're a little bit.
There
we go.
Yeah, I'm on. Right. Okay. Hello, everybody. And as Jane said, I'm going for the nutrient dense, vegan, vegetarian, full of flavour, top 10 recipe in the UK dal. That's what I'm going for. So I'm not vegan, I'm not vegetarian, but I absolutely love this recipe. It's reasonably it's very cheap to do. I think the most expensive ingredient is the spinach, but if you grow that, and obviously that will be fine. I can't read what that says over there. So I'm just going to crack on because, as everybody knows, I'm always the one that talks the most, and this is probably the longest recipe I've ever been allowed to do, but most of it's cooking time, so I'll just be on the chat instead. So this is the coconut and spinach dal. As I said, it's vegetarian, it's vegan, it's gluten-free, it's low-calorie, nut-free. It freezes perfectly because we're not even having it for dinner tonight. I'm going to have it for dinner on Friday. I'm also a type 1 diabetic, and this is ideal for diabetics as well because it's high in protein, high in fibre, down to the lentils, which I've always got for the red pepper and lentil soup. And it's just absolutely jam-packed with flavour and really, really easy to do. So, as are all cookie dough recipes, by the way. So I'm just going to start cooking, and then we're off. So start with, it's just 2 teaspoons of cumin seeds straight in, followed by 2 teaspoons of mustard seeds, which are now on the worktop and in the bowl. I know, I'm only ever here for the comedy. Right, measuring cup going in. So I only ever buy whole spices now because it's cheaper to grind them yourself, and then you can do them fresh, and the flavour is amazing. So 15 seconds on speed 8. There we go, we're just going to grind those.
Yeah, it's amazing, the grinding power of your Thermomix. If you haven't done it. Yeah.
Me, I don't know how I get
What do you mean? Oh, don't worry, carry on. I think carry on.
Am I on?
Camera's not green.
Yeah. You can see. So we always use this to grind our own coffee beans, any spices. It's amazing to do. I think what's Katie saying? Lentils are also high in something, and then it popped away, and I can't see it now. So that's freshly ground spices. Then 3 garlic cloves going straight in, and some onions straight in. And obviously I've kept, as always, never throw your rubbish away. That's my onion skins and my garlic skins for the next lot of vegetable stock paste. So that's going straight in. Some ginger, which is here, straight in, which again, I'm not sure if anyone's doing the immune booster shot, but that's why I've always got ginger in. So I think we're doing a different wellness shot. My favourite wellness shot is the immune booster, which is honey, lemon, ginger and water. So I have a shot of that one every day. So I've always got ginger, and for ginger biscuits, obviously. Root ginger's in. Obviously not in January though, only other months of the year. 25 grams of coconut oil, which is here. Go straight in. There we go.
Katie's just typing in the chat, everybody, which is super helpful. A few like top tips from a nutritional point of view. So keep your eye on the chat. Also ask any questions in the chat, and between us, we'll try and help.
There we go. So 25 grams in. That's fine. And then we're up to a little bit of turmeric, which is 2 teaspoons of turmeric. And again, well, I'm not going to do it now, and it is January. If you do lots of things with turmeric and your lid gets stained with turmeric, just put it out in the sunshine for about an hour, which obviously is quite difficult to do in January. But if you see any sunshine, just get it out there, and then that will remove any staining from your lid. It will also get rid of it from your ugly spatula as well. So if that goes orange, you can get rid of the turmeric stains on there as well. 2 teaspoons. So we've got half. 1. Right, this is a half teaspoon in case anybody thinks I've gone turmeric crazy. That's fine. That's 2 teaspoons. And what was that? I can't count. Thanks, Jay.
No, in case you thought you couldn't count, you can count, obviously.
Oh, okay. And then 1.5 of chili powder. These are the only ones, by the way, that I have got in bulk that I don't grind myself because I've had them bought sometime. 1. Everything else I grind fresh. 1.5. And then 1.5 of salt, which is there. This goes in, and then so 5 seconds, speed 5 to mix it all, and then I'm always very rude about my spatula, but I do think it is the ugliest spatula in the world, but very functional. 5 seconds, and that's all now. Oh, smelling amazing, which obviously is of a massive benefit to me and not so much to you, but I will thank you all for it on Friday evening. And then this one is such an easy recipe. It's mainly just put it all in and let it cook. So when I'm doing this one normally, it's when I get to run around the house and make the beds or empty the dishwasher or sort the dog out or shout at the children. Right, so measuring cup out, simmering basket on, and then 10 minutes where you don't need to listen to me, and I'm going to hand over now to, I think, Hilary, who's doing a wellness shot. So you
Brilliant. Thank you, Claire. We'll come back to you at the end. I think after your 10 minutes, you're going to add some coconut milk and some
I was
butter.
going to say that.
Yeah, you go ahead. You go ahead and do that, and we'll come back to you at the end, and you can explain what you've done. There are 2 coconut and spinach style recipes, and this one, the other one's a lot quicker, more simple, less spices, but this is a far superior flavour, isn't it?
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing, and as I say, it freezes really well. It really doesn't take that long. Most of the time is in the cooking, not actually in the putting stuff in. It's literally a case of put half the ingredients in, cooks for 10 minutes, put the rest of the ingredients in, cooks for 15, and then that's it, it's done. It's such an easy recipe, but it's so popular. And as I say, since 2021 in the UK, it's been in the top 10 recipes every year because it's just so good and so cheap and so healthy and amazing. So if you haven't done it, I absolutely recommend that you do this recipe.
I agree with you. Thanks, Claire. Coming over to you, Hilary. Right, that's what you're doing. You're doing the wellness shot.
I'm doing the turmeric wellness shot. Yeah, so it's really easy. Some rated easy peasy, as I call it. 5 minutes to make and serves 7 portions. So it's going to make it all in one, and then I'm going to portion it up. I use the little Thermomix little glass jars, but you could use just one glass jar and pour it out. Whatever works for you best, really. So we'll get started. So 1 lemon, flesh only, no white pith. So here's one I prepared earlier. And it goes. 5 centimetre piece of fresh turmeric, peeled and cut into slices. I didn't have, I couldn't find fresh turmeric, so I have got 2 teaspoons, which is the equivalent of powdered turmeric. And I've also got, so I'm just going to click on next. We've then got 2.5 centimetre piece of fresh ginger. So again, here we go. That's straight in. That's pre-done. Fresh pineapple. Again, there we go. You could use tinned if you don't have fresh. There we go. That's it. Oh, I love it when you can get back. 400 grams of filtered water. You could use coconut water for added flavour, and also add for your antioxidants, magnesium and potassium as well. So we're going to add in 400 grams of filtered water.
Just whilst you're doing that, can I just fill with a bit of chat about turmeric?
Yep, of course.
So as I just mentioned, turmeric and ginger is amazing anti-inflammatory, antioxidant and all of that. The active ingredient in turmeric is called curcumin. And I found in the grape tree, I don't know if any of you guys have one local, but you can get pure curcumin. Let me show you there. Well, it says 95%. So instead of turmeric, you could add this and it would have a more potent anti-inflammatory effect on you. And yeah, I've used fresh turmeric before, not again, because you end up with stained fingers for like days. So wise to use the powder.
Brilliant, thank you. So we've then got 1 to 2 pinches of cayenne pepper and 1 to 2 pinches of ground pepper. So I feel very pro here that I have them all pre-measured out in one little dish. I'm going to pop them all in. And then literally pop the lid on, so you've got everything in there, measuring cup in, and we're going to zip that on speed 9 for a minute. Okay.
So while Hillary's doing that, Katie, anything else to add on? I think even there are lots of other, there's wellness shots, immune boosters, all of these recipes on Cookie Do. So have a look up for them. I'm sure Hillary will mention it, but the cost difference, you can buy these in the supermarkets, and if I would, you know, throw your money out the window if that's what you want to do. They are so expensive, yet so inexpensive here to make.
I will just add, I think, Hillary, you added black pepper, didn't you?
Yes, I think she did. She probably can't hear you.
Yeah. So the black pepper is probably in that because you need the black pepper for you to absorb the turmeric into your system. So it's always good when you are using turmeric to pair it with the black pepper.
Good tip. Thank you. Have
I
you
put a
finished?
little quiz in if nobody cheats. Can I just put a quick little quiz question in?
Go for it.
Just because I like to. Does anybody know how many countries Cookie Do now has recipes from? Don't have to answer now. You can put it in the chat. There you go.
Back in the room. So that's done. So you see how quick that is. Just gonna give you can see without pouring it all over my floor. There we go. I will pour it into some of the little glass jars so you can see. Actually, what I'll do is pour it straight back into this because this had the filtered water into it. It does smell amazing. Again, it's those fresh spices.
And what's the portion? It's something like 60 grams or 90 grams. So it is just a shot.
Yeah, so this is if I go into recipe detail, it's 7 portions. So what I tend to do is pour them into these. So I would just disperse that. We have 6, I think, of these jars. So I tend to portion it out into the little jars and then pop them in the fridge. So I would maybe put about that much in, pop the lid on, keep them in the fridge like that, and have that as a little shot in the morning. That works out for the whole amount. That works out like 80 pence roughly to make. To get that 12, so I had a quick look online. Amazon for 12 shots would cost you around £30. Tesco, it's £2 a shot. M&S about £2.50 a shot. So it's much cheaper, and it's cheaper to do it yourself. Also, you know exactly what's gone into it. There's nothing else. You know, you haven't got any packaging. that you're using, so it's much more environmentally friendly, and it's so simple and so quick. Your water, your lemon and your pineapple is great for, it's high in vitamin C, and your turmeric and ginger, which I think Katie said is anti-inflammatory. It's also, when I was looking up on it, a lot of people put like lemon, ginger and things like that into hot water in the morning, and apparently it's better for you if you have it cold rather than hot, because it has I think still some of the nutrients, and I would have this first thing in the morning because it gives you that boost without caffeine. Makes it easier because you're detoxing before your breakfast, for your system to digest breakfast while giving you an instant energy boost, which sounds good to me.
Nice one, Hilary. Thank you.
Can I add? I hadn't realised you put pineapple in, but
Yes.
pineapple can bromelain, which is a really, really high anti-inflammatory. And the bromelain bit is contained in the core of the pineapple. So when you cut up a pineapple, that fibrous bit in the middle that often people eat around, that's got the highest bit of bromelain in. And that's where the Thermomix comes in really handy, because it blitzes the whole lot. So you're getting the bromelain as well.
Does that mean that a pina colada is healthy, Katie?
Without the alcohol, yeah, it would be.
Thanks, Claire.
I'm going to hand over to Emma.
Yeah, so Emma, you ready? We're coming to you. There we go. Just need to unmute and then you're all good to go.
Can you hear me now?
We can.
Hear me? Yeah, great. Okay, brilliant. I wanted to show you a meal tonight, and I'm always looking for a quick pasta dish in the week, because I love the fact that it's a nice, quick, easy meal to do in the week. And I quite often go to the pasta with vegetable ragu for a sauce, which has got carrots and celery and tomatoes in it. Or I do the plain pasta sauce with basil in it, but not many vegetables. And this one that I'm going to make tonight has got red lentils. So red lentils are classed as a superfood, and they're packed with protein. And it's got rosemary, a fragrant herb that just grows in front of everyone's houses, by the sides of our houses, in our garden. Got lots of rosemary to put in it, and unusually it's got kale in it, which most people would say, ooh, not so sure about putting kale in it. Kale is a great green food with it's nutrient rich. If you eat it raw, blitz in a smoothie, it's really healthy for you, but it's also really good for you if you steam it. So steam it for a short time so you don't spoil any of the nutrients. So the pasta is going to have some steamed kale stirred into it, and to give it a little, it's got about 10 different vegetables in it, which is why I picked it for tonight, and I'm going to get straight into making it. So it's got a clove of garlic in it, but I'm going to put 2 cloves of garlic in it because we really love the flavour in this house, and garlic is really good for boosting your immune system. And then I'm going to put 6 sprigs of fresh rosemary, just the leaves only, which I've pre-prepared. And I just wanted to show you the splash guard, which you may or may not have used it in a recipe yet, but it's got these little holes in the lid, and they're really useful. You can thread your herb through it, and you can pull the herb through from the other side, and you end up with the leaves that just come off the stalk. So that's a great tip for getting leaves off the herbs. We're going to put some onion in there, and I quite often like to use red onion or pink onion, because the red in the vegetable gives you that little bit of antioxidant, which is another great thing to have in the meal for keeping us healthy. And the next ingredient is 75 grams of carrots, 75 grams of celery, and I'm using a mixture of carrot and courgette tonight because we have a celery hater in the house. And we're going to pop 20 grams of olive oil in there. Just pour that in onto those lovely vegetables, which have only really been cut into similar sizes and to be chopped together in the machine now. So I'm just going to quickly put the lid on And for 5 seconds, I'm just going to chop on speed 6. So that was chopping the rosemary and the garlic and the onions and everything in there. And I've now got this chopped mass of vegetables in there and ready. They're already mixed in with the olive oil. And the next instruction is to put the simmering basket on the top of the Thermomix and select speed 1 and saute those ingredients together for 3 minutes. So I don't know if you want to add anything into what I've said, Katie, about the ingredients there. I need to get my spatula.
I'll just say verbally what I've just put in the chat.
Oh, thank you.
Great for diet. You know, a lot of people are dieting in January, and both your celery and carrot can promote that feeling of fullness, so therefore promotes eating less. But also the kale that you used is really good for hormone balancing, especially estrogen, so quite good for preventing those estrogen-based cancers like breast cancer.
You very nice.
Yeah, amazing. I think that what I was going to say was we always recommend that you make a recipe using the ingredients that are specified in the recipe so that you know how it's meant to turn out. And if you want to make any substitutions late, you know, when you make it a second time, then you could maybe substitute spinach for the kale or a vegetable that you cut up quite small. And you could chop that in your Thermomix before you make the dish. And then you could, what I'm going to do later on in the recipe, while the sauce is cooking, is I'm going to use the steaming function and the Veroma dish, which sits on the top. And I'll show you that in a moment. The last action is to steam the kale. So you could steam cauliflower rice at the same time as making the sauce. If you wanted to steam it and have it as a side dish along with the pasta. If you don't, pasta is a really good carb. You know, it's good to fill up our children and satisfy their appetites. It's good for people who like to exercise and they're running quite a bit or walking. Liz, one of our advisors, was just saying she walked 5 miles today. We all need to make sure we've got the energy to help our body cope and recover after all, do the exercise and then recover afterwards. So I think pasta is great to have as a meal, but you know, if we think that it's a bit too much for us in a serving, then we can cut down on that. So that's why, you know, adding in cauliflower rice or any other vegetables that you've cooked to eat with this, you might decide that you can go to steam tender stem broccoli or something like that in the Veroma. There are lots of ideas there and things that you can do while you're cooking your pasta sauce.
Also, just to add, using the
Yep.
Veroma, when you use the Veroma in comparison to boiling vegetables or using a normal steamer, the nutrients are actually dripping into the sauce that you're making below. Whereas when you're using a normal steamer, you probably pour the water down the sink and you're therefore leaching a lot of the nutrients out of the vegetables. So the joy of the Thermomix is you've got the Veroma on top and all that nutrient-rich stuff which could be leached out is then dripping down into the sauce below. So you're not losing out on anything.
That is a really good point and well said, Katie, because I think you know, some people perhaps use their steamer in conjunction with a Thermomix, and that's, you know, when you steam your vegetables, you can use the steaming water to put in your gravy or something like that. So it's finding the right time to use these things. So to show you the next stage of the recipe, I've sauteed all of those lovely vegetables together. I'm going to add in 100 grams of red lentils. They're already weighed out. I'm going to add, it says roasted red peppers. So just buy a jar of char grilled peppers and drain the oil off them and put those in. So delicious sliced red and yellow pepper there with lots of vitamin C in the red pepper. And 100 grams of sun blush tomatoes, they're going in now. In fact, I couldn't get sun blush tomatoes. I got these in Aldi. They're just marinated tomatoes in garlic and oregano, so lots of extra flavour going in there. And I think they'll work really well in the sauce because they'll keep their shape better. I'm also going to put in a tin of chopped tomatoes. And then the next instruction is to put 300 grams of water in. So I'll just rinse out the tin, pour the water into the tin to rinse out the tomatoes that are left remaining in it, and top it up with the water. We're just adding a bit of water to the pasta sauce to make it a nice consistency, and also bearing in mind that we're going to do steaming for 4 minutes. Some of the water will evaporate off. And then half a stock cube. In the whole time that I've had a Thermomix, I've always used homemade stock paste, which is so easy to make. Claire mentioned it. I save all my cut-offs of carrot tops and all my herbs and so on, save them in the freezer, and then when I need to make a new batch, they're ready to go. So it's been great to have that in the fridge and to use it, but I'm completely out. So tomorrow's job is to make stock paste. So half a stock cube has gone into that. And then now I'm just going to put the simmering basket back in place on top of the lid, and I'm going to cook on the highest temperature, aroma temperature, for 12 minutes. And I'm going to hand over, because that's going to take quite a time, I'll hand over to Liz. When that finishes, I'll steam the kale, which I've washed it and popped it in and checked through it and taken out any tough stalks, put them in the stock paste. And I'll put that on there for 4 minutes and finish the sauce off, and then you'll come back to me at the end and I'll show you what it looks like as a finished dish.
Thanks, Emma. Thank you. Over to you, Liz.
Right. Hi, guys. Thank you, Emma. Yeah, just as an aside, I absolutely love kale. I didn't know that I loved kale until I got a Thermomix. And people will say to you, oh, it's a bit tough if you have it raw. The beautiful thing with Thermomix is when I make a kale salad, part of the actual recipe in the salads that I like to do is that we put the kale in with the dressing, and it massages the kale, which helps to break down the fibers and makes it much more palatable and makes it that little bit softer and more pleasant to eat. So I actually love kale as a salad. And I think the one that I do is a pomegranate, walnut, and kale salad with grilled halloumi, and it is amazing. So definitely worth looking up. I'm sure Claire or somebody might be able to find it and pop it on the chat. But anyways, that aside, I'm going to make Vietnamese meatballs with a chili sauce today. I can't say that there was like necessarily a full-on health reason for me making this, but I thought it looked like a really cool recipe. It's very quick. And it's going to show you one of my favorite tricks in the Thermomix, and that is making your own mince. So I'm going to start with these chicken thighs. And what I've done is chop them into similar sized pieces. And then I've put them in my freezer for about half hour, 45 minutes for them to firm up a bit. So that will make the mince easier to handle when it's been chopped. So this is great because this opens up the opportunity for you to make any kind of mince that you'd like. You can also make sure that you're cutting off the fat and the sinewy bits that might be included in store-bought mince, or perhaps making blends. So if you wanted to make a bolognese and you wanted to do, say, half pork and half beef, which is very traditional for an Italian bolognese sauce, you can do that by just buying the meat that you'd like to chop up. So, I see Claire's put thank you, Claire. She put the salad on there. It's beautiful. So let's start the recipe. What we're going to do is, it says to put 200 grams of this in. So I've done 400, but the machine won't cope with 400 all at once. So we're going to do half of it and then the other half. So I'm just going to put 200 grams in, just about there. A little bit more. And then it does it so quickly. We put the measuring cup in, and just in 10 seconds, it's going to grind this up.
Making your own mincemeat again, choosing the cut of the meat you want is brilliant. And when we come to the summer, your special burgers that you can't even buy in the supermarket,
yeah.
choose the leanest meat or the best meat. And I'm very much willing to spend more money now on my ingredients, especially having looked into ultra processed foods and things like this, because I think it's a much better spend. And you're saving with the Thermomix anyway, so you can justify it, can't you?
Absolutely, absolutely, Jane. And yeah, you're talking about yeah, in the summer, yeah, we were using we had I don't know, my husband bought a 5-pack of steaks, but there's 4 of us, so we had that, odd man out. Nobody really wanted to have a 5th steak, so we didn't even cook it. And instead, I was able to turn it into mince. So, it's great for waste if you want to cook something different. Also, if you're thinking, oh, I don't really want to have more pork chops. Oh, well, actually, just chop them up and use pork mince. We've done the rest of it now. We're just going to turn that on and let that chop.
Brilliant. Any questions? Keep them coming in. Hopefully you can see the links that we're sending through the chat of what the recipes people are cooking. We've got 3 or 4 more recipes to come.
Absolutely. And I suppose the good thing about this recipe too is that obviously we're using chicken mince, so we're cutting back on our red meat. But also, if you wanted to do this recipe with pork, which is a very traditional, East Asian ingredient to use, you could do them with pork. If you want to do them with beef, you could do them with beef. The flavors lend themselves well to lots of different kinds of meat. It might even be interesting to do it with more of like a game. So if you wanted to do it maybe with like a duck. I haven't tried doing duck as a mince. Have you tried that at all, Jane?
No, but that would be amazing. And I guess it's something that's probably very hard to find in a supermarket. But, a Chinese dish is the minced duck, with the Chinese spices and sauces and maybe in a lettuce wrap. So it really would open up a lot of options. I also did some work with Wild Meat Company, and we should all be considering eating more wild meat, generally higher in protein, higher in iron, lower in fat in a lot of cases, and will help our environment.
Absolutely. So the next step here is to add in, I don't need to clean my mixing bowl because everything I'm putting in now will be mixed in with the meat. So I'm putting in some ginger, 10 grams of ginger, just fresh root ginger, peeled. If you don't know, the easiest way to peel your ginger is to use a spoon and literally just scrape it along your ginger. It works so much easier than trying to use a traditional peeler. So if you haven't tried that before, use a spoon to peel your ginger. You'll also lose less of your ginger by doing that because you'll just scrape off the brown rather than actually getting chunks of your ginger off of it. So right now it's 4 spring onions, so about 35 grams, and I've cut them up into smaller pieces. 2 garlic cloves, in they go. 4 sprigs of fresh coriander chopped up, and that includes the stems, the stalks. That's fine because this is all going to get minced up. And fresh lemongrass. So some people think it might be hard to find. I bought this at Morrison's today. And they came in a 2-pack and I only needed 2, so it was perfect. So in goes my fresh lemongrass. Lemongrass, as far as I know, is good for antioxidants. I think it may be an anti-inflammatory as well. I'm sure Katie can correct me on that. And now we're going to put the lid on. We're going to chop all that up, just 3 seconds.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure lemongrass is a good antioxidant and stuff. But also you've got chili in that ingredient, in that recipe, don't you? So chili, great for diet because it reduces appetite and cravings. It can, at this time of year, clear congestion, etc., and remove toxins. It's also great for diabetics as it can regulate your blood sugar level.
Brilliant. Right, so I scrape that down. It's going to happen just with it one more time, although it's looking pretty fine already.
I just wanted to add with the ginger, and Katie, let me know if this is right or wrong, but this is how I was always understood it. If it's young ginger, you can leave the skin on because there's more antioxidants in it, whereas if it's old ginger and it's quite tough, that's the one that I scrape off with my spoon.
So just to show you, you can see, look, that's the
skin on is always good.
So it's chopped it up really, really well. So you can see how it's chopped everything up. So now, it's telling me to add my chicken mince back in, so I'm doing that. Putting the chicken mince in. 1 egg. And a tablespoon of soy sauce. So this is asking for light soy sauce. If you were gluten-free, you could try tamari. That's a gluten-free version of soy sauce.
Oh, is it gluten-free? Is that what it is?
Yeah, tamari's gluten-free. Yeah, yeah. We need your other sister here, Jane. She'll know. She's probably very familiar with these kinds of flavors, living in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
I'm such a lightweight though, using the excuse of, oh, it's 3 a.m. over there, I can't possibly join.
I know. Come on, everybody's up at 3 a.m. Aren't we doing crosswords, staring at our phones?
Exactly.
And then a tablespoon of fish sauce. Right, so that goes into the and I put the measuring cup. Sorry, the lid on for just 4 seconds. It's just going to mix all that up, and that's going to be the base for our meatballs.
Amazing.
I do like Lucy's mother commenting that Lucy is probably awake.
Yeah.
So she should be here. Right. So sorry, my bad. We're gonna let it go whiz through one last time.
With all of those Vietnamese flavors, we do love a bit of Asian food in our house. So things like lemongrass, the chilies, the lime leaves. I just have a pot in the freezer and keep them in there, and then just take out what I need as and when I need. Because if I buy a packet of chilies, I'm not going to use all the chilies in one go. So I just keep a sort of collection of those sorts of ingredients in the freezer.
Absolutely, yeah. So here we've got my mix that I'm just going to scrape out the meat, and all those flavors have been incorporated into it. So now it's just the perfect consistency to turn into meatballs. So what I'm going to do, I will cut back to Jade now and let Jane do her bit. But in the meantime, I am going to form these into meatballs. I think I'll probably do like tablespoon size amounts of meat, maybe tablespoon and a half. Because it says it makes about 24. And then what I'll do is I'll put them in the baroma, divide them between the baroma and the tray. And then I'm going to put some water in here and I'm going to steam the meatballs. So when you come back, you'll see the meatballs finished, hopefully. And I also, well, I was going to make, but I decided I'd just make it ahead of time to make it easier. I've made a dipping sauce, if you can see there.
Yeah.
And it tells you how to make it with the baroma, or sorry, it tells you how to make it with the Thermomix, but it doesn't use the Thermomix. So this is very easy. You can do this while it's steaming. It was just sugar water, fish sauce, some chilies, and some coriander, and you just mix it all together. Yeah. So that will be the dipping sauce at the end. So I'll go ahead and get those meatballs made and on steaming, and I'll pass over to Jane.
Thanks, Liz. We'll see you in a minute. We're whizzing through. We've got there's me, there's Sarah and Martina to come. We're desperately trying to do it in an hour, but we'll see. What I wanted to do is I wanted to explain that you can have all your own cookbook. So I've got the Doctor's Kitchen that I've been looking through today, you know, your recipes from magazines and stuff. With the 90,000 recipes you've got on Cookie Do, you can still use your own recipes. So that's what I am going to do today. I've put a link on the chat for a Dishoom broccoli salad that a friend of mine asked me to look at. Lou, I think you might even be on here. So this is your recipe. And since doing that, we use it a lot. I love this recipe. It's raw broccoli, it's nuts, mint, garlic. It's really nice. Actually, no garlic, ginger. But I'm going to quickly share my screen with you and show you how to do it on Cookie Do, hopefully. Right. So this is my Cookie Do account. Shout if you can't see it. And if I go to my recipes, you've got this option here for created recipes. Here are all your collections of all your favorite recipes. Good to note that these recipes stay on your machine if you lose Wi-Fi or if you're out of Wi-Fi. So they're there, and 90,000 is quite a lot to search through. So if you've got your favorites, they're there. If you want to input your own recipe, go here to created, and then you have an option. There's a plus down here, and you can either create your own recipe, which is what I'm going to do tonight, or import a recipe. You can only import from Cookie Do because of copyright. But if there was another recipe that you like, but you wanted to tweak it, or a recipe in a different language and you wanted to translate it, then that would be your best bet rather than starting from scratch. I'm going to start from scratch. I'm not going to do the whole recipe. I just want to show you how it works. So you type in the title of your recipe. So Dishoom broccoli salad, and you click create. When you're done, you can put your photo up there. Then when you put your ingredients in, you go here to add your ingredients, and you've got to add them by the weight that you need. So I'm going to do 75 grams of roasted pistachios. Excuse any spelling mistakes. Pistachio nuts. Click the tick and then go to your next ingredient. 3/4 of a chili. Click next. And then you go all the way down with all your ingredients. You don't need to see it all today. Then when you're ready, you go over to your preparation steps. And I think it's really important to understand how the Thermomix works before you start creating, because what you want to do is your dry ingredients first. So I would probably say add, and then I want my pistachio nuts. So you click on the scales, click your ingredient, and then it will come up there and you'll see it's in bold. And chop, and then choose your knife, and this is where you choose your setting. And I'm guessing here 3 seconds on speed 7. Now, the way to figure it out is either by looking at other similar recipes on Cookie Do, by trying it, by looking in the back of your simple ideas book. They've got all the chopping speeds there, all the steaming feeds, cooking speeds, and everything like that, timing. When you're done, you go next. Now, for now, that's all I'm going to do. Imagine I've done the whole recipe, and then I'll show it to you on my Thermomix. So here's one I did earlier, and you've got all the options to add it to your Thermomix to cook today, to add it to your shopping list, to add it to your week, etc., etc. So you click cook today, and then you can come out of there. Has anybody done created? Give me a high five or whatever reaction if you have. If you haven't, I hope that's useful. So then what we're going to do, I'm actually going to bring you down here so you can see the Thermomix a little bit. I know it's hard with the glare, but here's my week, and that's the recipe for the broccoli salad. If I touch on that and go cook to ready to cook, it's going to come on. Now start cooking, and it tells you here, created by Jane. So start cooking, and it's slightly different. The next arrow is on the right. So it's not quite as smooth as the normal Cookie Do recipes, but it's still incredibly easy. When you're ready, so the step I've got here is add 75 grams of pistachio nuts and 25 grams of roasted pumpkin seeds and finely chop on 4 seconds, speed 6. So if I click the scales icon there, it will bring up my scales. Now, I did that before I came on. I weighed in the 75 grams of pistachios and the 25 grams of pumpkin seeds, and then I roasted them on my Arga. You have to then close that step and then click on this knife, and it's all preset to what you said. So it's 4 seconds. It was speed 6 that I programmed it. So I've got my nuts and my seeds, and they're going to go in. And then, as per the instructions that I put in, I'm going to turn the dial round to speed 6, and it's going to chop for 4 seconds. And then I'm going to click close, and I've said to set it aside. So I'll show you. So they're ground nuts, not into a powder, so you've still got a bit of texture. And the smell is amazing. They basically get sprinkled onto the salad at the end. Okay, so set those aside, and then you just go to this little arrow on the right.
You've gone a bit quiet, Jane. I don't know if anybody else has found that.
Have I?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've just turned my volume up.
Yes.
Even now, it stopped blending.
That's better.
Oh, okay. I think maybe the blend affected it, maybe, hopefully. Right, so now the second step is to make the dressing. So I've got all the instructions there, but if I click on the scales, it will tell me everything that I need to weigh in. So it's not one by one, I've put them all in one step, but all I do is weigh it in one at a time. So 25 grams of lime juice. So that's going in, the scales are going up. When I get to 25 grams, I'm going to tear the scales and go on to the next one, which is 5 slices of ginger. So I've got my ginger, that's going in. And then the next, tear my scales, and it's asking for, I'm just doing a tiny bit of chili because those chilies are potent. Next thing on the list is half a teaspoon of salt. I'm using the Himalayan pink salt now, because it's, Katie can tell us, but far better than table salt because it's got the minerals in it that we actually need as well.
Basically, Neha told us to, didn't she? So
Yeah.
it's got lots of minerals in it. I can't remember what minerals, but your white table salt is bleached with chlorine and nasties, whereas this is in its pure form.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Katie. And I do love my salt, so I don't feel quite so bad now when I'm perhaps having more than I should. So I just put in it says 19 grams of sugar, which is pretty precise, but that's Dishu, not me. I've gone 17, so shoot me. I'm now going to do 12 grams of rice vinegar. So that's gone in. Keep remembering to tear your scales. And now 75 grams of olive oil. Again, stick with your better quality oils that are less processed, and I think olive oil is a good shout, especially for dressings and cold food. Okay, so once that's done, again, not quite the same.
Quick one, Jane, on olive oils. It is your best one, but if you use a normal olive oil, that's got a higher smoking temperature, so that's better for cooking. And if you've got an extra virgin olive oil, save that one for your salads and stuff because it's not as good on the high temperatures.
Cool, thanks, Katie. Everything's weighed in. I'm now just clicking the close button up here. So again, it's not quite as straightforward as the Cookie Do own recipes, but trust the process. I then click the knife icon and it's preset with my instructions that I typed in, 6 seconds, speed 10. So I'm not going to try and talk over this. I'll just let it go blend for 6 seconds. I'll be back. Okay, hopefully you can still hear me. So I've closed that step. It doesn't automatically go to the next step. You have to press that little arrow on the right. And now I've got this really nice, it's a really nice dressing. If I pour it out, I'm going to pour it all over my laptop. There you go. Really nice dressing. And now put my scales up again for my next step. And it just wants 25 grams of medjool dates. So I've taken the stones out of these dates. So some really nice natural sweetness. That's 2 dates, about 25 grams. And the next function is to chop them up, speed 3 on speed 8. So quick chop. Again, close that step, go on to the next step. And I'm going to add, it said 1 small broccoli head. So there we go, just chopped up into florets. Click on the scales so I can see what else I've got to do. So that's broccoli going in. Yeah.
Then I can't believe using a Cocoa Pops bowl.
I know, I just saw it on the screen. That's really embarrassing. Sorry, folks.
Jane, Debbie's just said, Katie's answered her, but Debbie's just said, with the olive oil, check with the olive oil as to how it is harvested, because those that use the vacuum method of harvesting kill thousands of roosting birds. So you can usually see online which are good, and Waitrose own is a good recommended one from Debbie.
Okay, I've never heard that. That's really interesting. It's also about the cold press processing thing as well, isn't it? Thank you, Debbie. Right, I've just put in 5 stalks of coriander. I'm now going to just put in 5 or so mint leaves. Just the leaves, maybe a few more. And then close the scales, click on the knife just to blend it, to mix it. Speed 7 seconds, speed 4. See you in a minute.
We're doing all right. We're doing all right. It's 7 minutes to go. 2 more recipes to fit in.
I know. Sarah and Martina, a bit of a tough job.
Sorry, talk for about 6.5 minutes of those, Sarah. You got 30, girlfriend.
So that's your broccoli salad. Okay, pour it into your bowl. Trust me when I say it's delicious. Lou, if you haven't done this one, give it a go. And obviously loads of health benefits. I think that with health, I think we've all got a different angle, you know. So for me, it might be to lose a few kilos. Maybe my husband is low cholesterol. For the boys, probably, you know, energy. For me, again, calcium, build up your bones, menopause, things like that. Everybody's got such a different angle, but ultimately, a variety of diet, variety of ingredients. I think we're in a good space. So I'm just sprinkling the nuts on top. And that's an incredible salad. If I say myself.
Jane, you're absolutely right. Rule of thumb is variety, and your gut microbiome absolutely loves variety. So Tim Spector talks about getting 30 different varieties a week, which, if you think about it, could be hard, but then looking at what counts as variety, all those different spices, so your cumin, your chili, your ginger, your lemongrass, your and your actual vegetables that you're putting in is all counts, and even coffee and chocolate from the cocoa bean all counts as different varieties of plants, so all good for the microbiome.
30 a week doesn't sound so bad. I thought you were going to say 30 a day. I thought I might have been pushed there.
You know,
30 a week, when you think about cooking from scratch, is so doable.
Yeah, completely.
it's brilliant. To go with this salad, all I'm going to do is steam 2 salmon fillets. And again, I just want, you know, you can use your recipes on Cookie Do, or you can go and look at the book. And I'm just going to do it manually. So I was checking out timings, and it reckons 15 minutes for between 12 and 16 minutes. I'm going to go 15. I've got a litre of water in there that's already heated up. I did that before I came on. Click on the temperature dial, turn that up to the max for aroma for steaming, and I'm going to turn that onto speed 4, which is the optimum for steaming. And that's me done. I'm going to turn over to Sarah now, and you've got about 2.5 minutes. Right, I've got to find Sarah.
Have you got me?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I'm just going to say, following on from Jane and January, it's a bit of a rubbish month to have a birthday, especially a big birthday, and all your friends come, and half of them are, oh, I'm doing dry January. Very annoying. So lots of champagne here if anybody wants to pop over.
I'm on my way.
Yeah, I've got my coat. Bye.
Right, I'm a bit of a fraud because I'm actually not doing something really, really healthy for my recipe, because I was going to do something quite healthy, but it was a bit boring. And then I was watching, watching a bit of breakfast television, and they were talking about UPFs, and I was thinking about it, and I love crisps. And I got this packet of Cravers, and I just had a look at the ingredients in it, and there's about 20 different ingredients, some of which I've never heard of. And so I'm going to be cooking my favourite nibble, which is a substitute for crisps, which are the fennel and chilli parmesan shortbreads. And whenever I get them out, and I usually do them at every demo I do, people just love them. I mean, the other night I made about 8 or 9 different canapes, and the ones that I thought they were quite good. But the one that everybody loved was the parmesan nibbles. So I'm going to make those. But before I do that, just to show you that I can be healthy, it takes too long to make because it takes an hour and a half, but it is the turmeric chicken bone broth, which is great for your gut health. I made some notes. It boosts collagen, supports healthy digestion, helps maintain the immune system, improves joint pain and stiffness, and supports healthy sleep because it contains turmeric. The only other ingredients we have, it's the basic broth. It's about 7 chicken wings, which gives you all this lovely gelatin and collagen, onion, carrot, celery, turmeric, and ginger. And for those of you who couldn't get any fresh turmeric, this is what it looks like. I found that in Waitrose, but I have a really good Indian shop near me as well. But as I think somebody said earlier, it does stain your fingers badly. But here we are. So I had this for lunch today. I just boiled it up, put some orzo in, and it was delicious. And I will probably use the rest in risottos. I'll freeze it, risotto soups, and pasta sauces. So over now to my recipe.
I used that the turmeric bone broth for gravy. The gravy ended up being quite yellow and everyone wondered why, but you couldn't taste the turmeric in it.
Sarah,
okay.
It stains your hands. It's the same rule of thumb. You just need to go and pop yourself out in the sun. It's the best excuse I can think of.
If we had some. Okay, so we start off with fennel seeds and dried chili flakes, which are going to go on top of the shortbreads. I always do that in advance. It's 2 teaspoons of fennel, 1 teaspoon of chili flakes, but I've done, I think, about 6 of fennel, 3 of the chili flakes, and I just saved them. So I've already ground those, so I'm moving on through the recipe, and I just keep them because I just make these all the time. I'm doing a bit of a variation this evening because this is a Mary Berry recipe, and it's essentially the same recipe, except she adds some chili powder to it. And instead of putting these flakes on top, she pops a cashew nut on top. So that's quite a nice alternative. I still actually prefer my chili and fennel topping, but it's nice to have, you want to do 2 lots, it's nice to have them with the cashew as well. So we'll pretend that I have ground those seeds. I'm now going to pop in my parmesan, 100 grams. I'm going to go as fast as I can, up to 10, so hang on a minute. I'm going too quickly for it. Right, 150. So only about 4 or 5 ingredients is this, as opposed to the cravers. We've got the plain flour, the soft. I always have to try and remember to get my butter out in advance. Oh, I've maybe put too much butter in. Never mind. Yeah, because I always forget to get it out, and it does need to be softened. An egg yolk from a large egg. Bit of sea salt. I also always put on the top of it some coarse sea salt, as well as the fennel seeds, because it just makes everybody drink more. Popping the measuring cup in, and we're just now going to do 10 seconds at 5. Okay, so this has actually come together quite nicely. This morning, I made a batch this morning, and I think the butter was a little bit too cold, so I kneaded it for about 5 seconds. So I'm going to tip it out now onto a floured mat. Anybody who does a lot of baking, you really need to get the baking mats, because I think they are fabulous. I've got about 4 now, and would you agree, Claire and Jane? They're amazing, aren't they?
Absolutely, 100%, because you can do so much with them. Dishwasher, go in the oven, you can prove dough in it, you can, the only thing you can't do on them is cut on them, because obviously you cut into the silicone, but apart from that, I think they're amazing.
Right, so you can see how easy this is. It says knead it for a bit, but really you don't need to. So I'm going to get one that I prepared earlier, Blue Peter moment, but it's very easy. I think that's what I love about all the pastry and the shortbreads and things. It just, I don't know, it just seems to work so well. When I used to make shortbread and pastry, I was never really very good at it. So I'm going to put that one, just leave that there for later. So it makes 2 rolls like this. That's my knife. Oops, I'm not going to cut it on the, excuse me, peak. Just plop that on there. And then you just, and when I rolled it, you know, those sort of gaps in it, you can see there's a few sort of little creases and things. So I spent a bit of time trying to get those out. But in actual fact, once you've put it in the fridge for 45 minutes, it just slices beautifully. It just all seems to come together. So there we go. So I would pop those on a baking tray, brush them with a little bit of melted, or you can use melted butter, but it recommends beaten egg, and sprinkle my seasonings on top and pop them in the oven. And today, coming back to me, because I'm so organised, here we are. And this is half the quantity. So they make about 40 little biscuits. I know that I've got some friends watching tonight, customers watching tonight. I'm sure they will have had these, and hopefully they are delicious.
They look amazing. Wow. I think you get the gold medal for speed and efficiency. I certainly don't, because I can't find Martina now, who we're going to next. There she is. Got her. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you. They look Martina, coming to you.
Yeah. How come I have to follow someone that organised? It's not fair.
Oh, sorry, Martina, we've run out of time.
Hello.
Thanks everyone for coming.
Evening, everybody. I hope you're all. It was really nice to see Hilary making the wellness shot earlier. Because what I kind of tend to do, my little routine is I make the wellness shots on a Monday, and they do me all week. So I have a shot every day. First thing when I get up in the morning, although I would love a cup of tea, but I kind of save that for a little bit later. And then I go on about half an hour, 45 minutes after my wellness shot to allow it kind of digest. I then follow that through with what I'm going to make for you now, which is the basic green smoothie. And there's many different smoothies in the Thermomix. This is just one I particularly love doing. It includes 5 of your fruit and vegetables for the day. And it's just dead easy. It does me, I mean, the recipe says 2 servings. I have it over 3 servings. So I kind of pop it into a milk bottle, which I saved from the milkman, don't tell Chris. And I kind of then have that over kind of 3 days. And that's lovely, but it's quick and easy to make. So even if I haven't got it made up, I can just blitz it all in the Thermomix and have it just before I run out and go to the gym. So we are going to start. So basic green smoothie, and I have a wellness collection, which includes all the other things that I like to have. So we go start cooking, and it's just literally, and as I'm not as delicate, I don't even pre-cut. You can cut it into chunks if you want, but you don't even have to do that. So you just put it in your banana, like so. Move it on. So apple quarters, so you just skin and everything on. You don't have to take that off. Obviously, just cut it in quarters, cut out the pip in the top, and that's it. Now with your oranges, I cut them into quarters, and then I take the white bit out of the top, the pith out of the top, and then I literally just with a serrated knife, then just cut from underneath so that you can then loosen the orange quite easily like that. So you put in the 4 quarters. That's it. And then 5 grams of fresh root ginger, like this in here. And then so we put in 50 to 60 grams of this, all in. My hands are all wet. And then ice cubes, 150 grams of ice cubes.
Did you say ice chips or vodka ice chips?
Gin, vodka, let's have a little bit of a cocktail. So there we go, some ice cubes in there, and then 200 grams of water. So you can use just normal water. I tend to like to use coconut water because it's got extra nutrients in it. So your choice. But you just put in 200 grams. And you don't, if you go over, it's no big deal. Especially when you're adding in alcohol into your risottos, always over, never under. And then lemon. So basically a quarter of a lemon, same thing, take the pith out, and then with a serrated knife, you can easily then just cut underneath and remove the lemon. and then that pops in. Put your lid on. You're ready to be mute me, James. This is going to be noisy. And then for 1 minute 40, that blends together. And yeah.
Did Martina just say mute her? I've never heard her say that before. Do it now.
The joys of Zoom. What I'm going to do, so that's a big long blend, is whilst that's blending, Claire, Liz, Emma, how are your dishes looking? Should I spotlight you all at the same time and see if we can
Yep, running into the kitchen now.
see what you've got going on? Add spotlight. I'll just take Martina off for a second. We'll come back to her. So there, tell us, Liz, what have you done?
Well, I got my chopsticks out. My meatballs are done. I've done a fresh squeeze of lime on top of them. I just love the taste of fresh lime juice. And I'm not gonna lie, I did try one already, but this is going on my weekly menu because these taste amazing. And I think these would be great if you were having people around for you know, a night and you wanted to do maybe like a little Asian night, or if you were thinking about celebrating Chinese New Year and you wanted to bring in lots of different flavors. These would be a great little starter. So easy to eat, either with the chopsticks or even on just like a little toothpick. And the sauce, I'm just gonna go for it. So fresh.
I'm going to give that a go. That's my kind of food.
It's amazing.
Oh, well done, Liz. Thanks ever so much.
Thank
Emma,
you.
coming to you.
Okay, right. I've got the bowl of the pasta here. I am so happy with this. It's been sitting for about 10 minutes. So the flavors are saturating into the pasta. But I've got the slices of sunblush marinated tomatoes are there. The kale is delicious in the context of the whole dish. I think I would probably also maybe just be a bit adventurous and sprinkle some lemon juice over the top. It's absolutely delicious. And then also the recipe recommends, if you want to keep it vegan, because this is a vegan recipe, you can grate, before you start making the sauce, grate your cheese in the bowl while it's dry. I did some Parmesan before I started it tonight. So I think everybody will just stick with Parmesan cheese. It's what I had in the fridge. It'll be delicious tonight. And I know they're all ready to come and have their supper. But I'm really happy with it. It looks delicious.
That does. And it looks like it would feed an army. It looks amazing.
There's lots there. Yeah, I did a tiny bit more pasta, but I did 400 grams instead of 300 grams because I want a bit left over for a lunch tomorrow as well.
Oh, well done, Emma. Well done. That looks amazing. Claire, how have you gotten on?
Yeah, mine's all done. So here's my lovely coconut spinach dal. All I did after you left me was added the coconut milk, added the tomatoes, added the raisins, and then obviously Cookie Do automatically will, you can't see it from the screen there, but it already, I can't even speak, it automatically goes on reverse blade, so it won't mash up or, you know, chop up your lentils, so everything is still recognizable. You know, the spinach is you can see the spinach, you can see the raisins, you can see everything. So this is just one portion. Well, it's not one portion, that's more than one portion. The rest is in the bowl, keeping warm. And it's great because, again, the spinach is the last thing to go in. It goes in with 5 minutes to steam, so all the nutrients are kept in. It's not, you know, boiled within an inch of its life, and it's absolutely amazing.
Amazing, Claire. Thank you. I can vouch for that recipe. I absolutely love it. Martina, how's your blend? Is it done?
Yeah, all blended, yeah. So I've already scraped this down, but obviously it's liquid, so just be mindful of that and to scrape it down and don't do a main pour it everywhere. So look at that, look at those colours. And making your own smoothies, like we all know when you buy smoothies in the supermarket, they're really, really expensive. And this here, you know, an apple, a banana, lemon, orange, some spinach. So I think, you know, just a couple of pounds, not even that. And you've got this for 2 or 3 days. So basically I'll just pour a bit. And the lovely thing too about the jug is, I'm sure you all are aware, it's beautiful. It pours gorgeously. So you don't have to put it into a jug and then decant it and pour it into your glass. Just pour it straight from there. And actually with my milk bottles as well, I can pour that in and it just pours lovely even through a really thin little space into it. So yeah, So that's it. So that's the green smoothie, and that will go in the fridge for me for tomorrow.
Oh,
Yeah, nice.
nice one. Nice one. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're
And I
welcome.
think, let me just, thank you. I'll just wrap it up now. We were a lot longer than we thought, but I think just so much information to talk about. So I hope you all were able to take something away from it. Obviously, none of us, I don't believe, are trained chefs. None of us, other than Katie, are trained nutritionists, but we're all passionate and we love our food. And my message is don't necessarily restrict, but just add better food, add veggies, add, you know, good plant-based protein, lean protein, and enjoy your January. It doesn't have to be miserable. Celebrate your birthdays. Any questions before we go? Quickly shout out, otherwise we'll head off. Follow our Facebook pages if you can, Instagram pages. Our social handles are on this. If you didn't catch it all and you want a recording, let us know. We hopefully have recorded it, and it will that's a pain from yesterday. Hopefully we'll go on to YouTube. What we really would love to do is book in some demos. So if you've got any friends and families who want to see the Thermomix, just let us know. We have Thermomix and we'll travel and would love to travel. So contact us if you want to book in a demo. We've got £30 vouchers to give away if you invite a couple of friends, and it's very social and fun, and we get to eat and drink.
And again, just throw in at the end there, and alongside demos, if anyone's interested in joining and doing what we do for fun, again, contact your advisor and let us know, because we'd love to have you. Yeah, always looking to expand our teams. Thank you all. Thank you, ladies, for coming. Happy New Year, and hopefully see you all soon. Have a lovely evening and a great rest of the January. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.